here we go again. It's Friday night on the bus. It's just after 9 o'clock. So, of course, you know what I'm going to say. You know what that means. It has to be time for that Friday feeling on the boys in the bus. And as usual, Friday night tradition. Pointing away. Of course, if I'm on tonight, of course, the wise man is here. Canada's favourite Tim is here. But also, if you're looking very closely in the top corner, we've got a Friday friend with us tonight. It is Francis Carty from Endless Celts. Francis, it's been a long time since you and I have been together, but it's good to see you again, mate. How are you doing tonight?
Aye, all good, Phil. Like you say, we said just before we came on, it seemed that you came on regular the Endless Celts podcast on Monday to bail us out a lot of times, which we totally appreciated. And I thought this was the first time I'd actually met Liam, but it turns out he reminded me I was on. I've made a random appearance on. I got called out one Friday night while watching the Bhoys podcast and ended up on it and making an arse of myself. But
that's all right.
We're not too serious in these podcasts.
No, exactly. I mean, on the Boise bus, we had a show was called a post-match show was called Post-Match Pitch. Did we sound like a podcast that was taking ourselves too seriously? You know, so it's like we don't take ourselves seriously at all. We're not journalists. We're just having a laugh, having the crack. But yeah, here we are again for another Friday night of said crack. So, Liam, how are you doing as well, mate? How's Canada treating you today?
Canada's good. I was representing the Seahawks today.
Yeah, Seattle Seahawks, mate, NFL team.
Ready to start again, aye. So I'm looking forward to that, and aye, let's get into it. You know, it's dying to talk to somebody about football this week. You know.
Well, we had a good result through the week, you know, in amongst all the sort of doom and gloom that seems to be going on at the moment in Celtic social media world, which, you know, seems to be every day these days. There was actually a good result. So we'll talk about that. Obviously, the Newcastle game is tomorrow. The Friday feeling, we usually do preview the game at the weekend. There is actually a game tomorrow. So we will talk about this friendly against Newcastle United. More transfer links. Another bid went in for a striker. Apparently, it's been rejected. Hilariously, we've bidded 6.9 million. I think it's a piss take because of the Visgarden fine. But anyway, we'll talk about that. And I only just saw in the last couple of hours a bit of worrying news about Dyson Maeda getting linked with somebody. It was on the Daily Records website. We shall talk about that as well as whatever else comes up in the chat. But of course, before we get into that, before we do all that, you know what to do. You know what I'm going to say. It's time to do all that good stuff, everybody. Help out this new channel massively. Help us out with old traction and the old algorithms. Because, as I say, new channel, more interactions, Bates has recommended more, and helps us boost those subscriber numbers. Because right now we're on 400-something subs. And it'd be good to get to 500 subs before the season kicks off, which is in 2 weeks, I believe it is. So, you know what to do. Hit the like button. That helps us out big time. Of course, if you are just new to us and just discovered us, keep us in your life that wee bit longer. Hit the subscribe button and remember to hit the bell notification and you'll be reminded when the bus is on the road. I had to actually tell somebody that in my work through the week because he's like, I keep missing you on the bus, and I'm like, have you got the bell notification ticked? No. So I had to talk him through how to do that. So yes, he's now done it though. So hopefully Craig is in the chat. Hopefully he's watching tonight. Hello, Craig, if you are. And yes, what else can you do? Well, let's see who's in our chat tonight, who is joining us this evening. We've got, of course, Graham Tyrrell's here. He's part of the furniture now on a Friday night, and I'm sure he's got the klaxon ready as well. Ian McIntosh is here. Chris D is here. Jim C is here. Jim Dolan. James Kennedy. 420 somewhere. Chris M. I think I also saw one of our own in here. Yes, David Logue is here as well. Yes, it is indeed. Fallon Partridge is here. Aha. Well, Chris M's giving you a shout as well. Franny. Lots of exclamation marks there. Yes, indeed. Franny is.
That's a good thing or a bad thing.
John Boy 67 Graves here, Paul Maguire, Ryan T. I think I've covered everybody that's put in a wee comment now. So thanks again for getting involved in the chat. Keep it going throughout the night. Take your seats and get involved. And what else? Yes, share the link of the new channel far and wide, whatever social media platform tickles your fancy. And as an extra bit of good stuff tonight, what else you can do? You can also go to the Endless Celts. You can subscribe to them to help Francis and the boys out as well, because we're all just one big happy Celtic family after all. We're all doing the same thing. We're all pulling in the same direction. So help out the Endless Celts boys as well. I've put the link to their channel in the description below this video. Yes. So if you haven't discovered them yet, then by all means go and click that and hit the subscribe button on them. Okay, and with all that good stuff done, all that said and done, let's get another Friday feeling on the road. So yeah, of course, through the week we did have a game. So we beat Sporting Lisbon 2-0. Crisis. what a crisis. Come on, canter, no problem at all. But the big talking point, obviously, and again, it seems to be a running theme at the moment, Francis, is the striker situation with Celtic. We're still very active looking for a striker. The manager even said, despite the fact that Shin Yamada is on his way, the words that Brendan's saying don't really compute. They don't fill us with much confidence here. But Adam Idah did, of course, start. He had a couple of clangers, a couple of sitters, it seems. And in the second half, Johnny Kenny comes on, and obviously the second goal, the work that he does for that second goal, the run that he makes, you wouldn't see Adam Idah doing that, Franny. So I wonder where Adam Idah's mindset is right now, because he's came out this week, Franny, and said, I want to score 30 goals this season, which I imagine every striker in world football would want to do. And then he's seeing the manager quite actively saying, we need more strikers. I need another striker. And obviously he's looking to spend big on it. And then that happens, misses a couple of sitters through the week. And then Johnny Kenny comes on and looks quite lively. And to be fair, so far in the pre-seasons, he has been one of the, and again, you can't take too much, Franny, from pre-season. Been one of the sort of highlights, you could say, because maybe it's a case of, because expectations are quite low with him, anything he does is like, this is brilliant. But how are you feeling about the whole Adam Idah scenario? Do you think he can push on and really hit the ground running this season, or are we just going to get the same with him what we saw last season, where it comes in spots? And I see all the other talk transfers. How do you think he's feeling about all that?
I mean, I suppose being at a club like Celtic, you should know that his position should always be under threat. He should never be an automatic starter, if you like. I appreciate that some players are, but in reality, we'd hope that nobody is an automatic pick. And it is a weird one with Adam, because I think, not want to speak for everybody, but I was definitely, and I think a lot of Celtic fans after his loan period were saying that's a deal that needs to get done. The fee, I think, is a different argument altogether. I think, Neil, everybody said it, we dragged it on that long that the fee became what it became. I think we probably could have got him a wee bit less than that if we pulled the trigger on it a lot earlier. And if you look at Adam Idah by numbers last season, you can't argue with it. Even at 9 million, you can't argue with it. But I don't know if I could hang my hat on him to do that consistently. He had a wee spell when Kyogo left. It was almost like he stepped up to the plate and went on a wee burst. But I think it was when your show you done the other night, Phil, with the boy Johnny Log, I totally forgot his name there. I think you mentioned it there about how he does score in spots, and I've said that before. It does feel like, obviously strikers will go for periods where they score a lot, but it seems like Adam Idah will get 4 goals in 2 games, or 5 goals in 4 games, then go 6, 7 games without scoring a goal. And it's the games where he doesn't score, doesn't do a lot else. And I think even when he does score, he sometimes doesn't do a lot, but the goals kind of sort of, you get away with it a bit. And I think one of I wouldn't say it's an issue with Adam Idah, but then you look at his goals, like his loan period, he had the 2 against Hibs, the ones against Motherwell, the cup final goal, the goal in the 3-3 game. Then even last season, he's got 2 in the Champions League at Villa. Yeah, we ended up getting beat there, but he got us back at that. Had that big moment against Bratislava. Had another goal against Rangers. He scored big goals in his Celtic career, which is strange because I still would like us to go. I couldn't trust him. And talking about Johnny Kenny, he was proper lively, and he looks like he's here to prove it. He's said as well that he doesn't really want to leave, which is good to hear. It's a young laddie back in his cell. And I've kind of got to credit Ross for our podcast after the game on Wednesday in our group chat. He was like, I would loan out Idah and keep Kenny on that form. And I think that's kind of, as much as I've tried to stick up for Adam Idah, it's kind of where I'm at as well. I was like, I would probably hang my hat more on Johnny Kenny right now than Adam Idah. And it's mad to say that.
It's that thing as well where there's so much talk about more strikers coming in. Is it a case of Adam Idah will be the one that will be gone before the end of the window? I wonder with that one. And as well, what you're saying, totally agree. It's that old eye test against the XG, the stats, and all that stuff. There is a place for it. I'm very old school in my ways, very much set in my ways. Don't talk about XG and expected passes and all this stuff, right? I like to do the eye test. I always like to say I should know because I've got 4 of them anyway, so you can see them. But you look at Adam Idah, you're right. The numbers suggest that, that was a fantastic season he had. But yeah, it's like 2 games, gets a few goals, and goes 5 games without. And yeah, it does seem he's got that very nonchalant, sort of cavalier body language. A bit similar to one Odsonne Edouard as well that we talked about through the week. But again, it's that sort of, it doesn't help him when there's criticism around him. That sort of lackadaisical kind of mood that he always seems to be in doesn't help. But we know there's a player there. You're talking about that wee spell that he had on the loan. See that goal he scored in the cup final? I said this at the time when we did a show talking about it. I swear to God, I must have had an out-of-body experience. I've never felt anything like it in my life. That 30 seconds after that goal, I don't even know what happened in the stadium. It was utter bedlam. I think because we played so pish that day, and to go and score right at the death, it was just like a wild moment. I said, I just, the 30 seconds was some of the best I've ever had watching Celtic. So he's always got that to his name. But yeah, it's been the last season. I really want Ida to succeed. I'm the same as you. Like, I'm so desperate to see him just be banging in goals week after week. But yeah, it's like 2 goals, 5 games without and whatnot. So anyway, I've got a comment for you, Liam. You'll love this one. Ryan the Cell has said, Ademida reportedly arrested in connection to a string of thefts. Some information seems to suggest stealing wages of Celtic Football Club. Mental. That's a bit much into it, but where are you on this one at the moment, Liam? Is Johnny Kenny ahead of Ademida in your eyes, wise man?
Mate, should be wearing black and white hoops and a bank robber's mask, sneaking out the door every week with that big money bag he's earning right now. I think, right, a couple of things. One, I think he's one of these players that zones out. And see, when you zone out, that's contagious. That goes through the whole teams. You get people that are zoning out in the park. The reason he looks, out of sorts and aloof and all that is because, there's experts in body language for a reason. He's showing the signals in that sometimes he can't concentrate and play the mental game for a full 90 or 95 minutes. And I think that's part of his problem. You just have to look at him to see. You can see players who are engaged with each other, talking to each other, like that. Not just wandering about like a fart in a spacesuit, like clambering about. Anyway, I think there's a bigger problem here, right? Just to throw out the first spanner of the night. What I'm concerned about right now is like we're looking at Ida and Johnny Kenny. Our best striker's yet to play a game up front. Our best striker is Daizan Maeda. And I don't know what Rodgers is playing at here. What we're trying to do, because strikers want to build up form in the pre-season. And if you looked at Daizan that last year, they played him as a striker in the pre-season, and he filled the net, and he carried that form right into the season. It was all about giving him confidence. So he's got access to score goals and get in the box and build that up so that by the time he hits the season, he's running. Right now, we've got him out in the wing. Now, she's got a World Cup coming up with Japan. He's not going there as a winger. He's gone as a striker. And I think that puts us in a really, really vulnerable position of what are we doing? Go out. Like all this talk about bringing in a striker. We've got a striker. It's wingers we need. Johnny Kenny, I think he looks great. I think he looks all right. Ida, nah, I don't think. I think you'll get some stuff out of him every now and again if he can zone himself back in. But, once you clock off, it's hard to clock back on again, as we've seen at the end of the season.
I go, Fanny.
So I was going to say, see the thing with Maeda, do you think, I don't know, we've kind of talked about it a bit in the podcast in the group chat, do you think Rodgers is looking at going, I'll try and get wingers in or a striker and Maeda will just fill in where I didn't fill that gap?
It's a fair
which
point.
I didn't think you should be doing with Maeda when he was a top performer. I think you just need to nail a position for him and go, right, we'll tackle that area now.
Aye. I mean, we've got the money to do it. It just seems a gamble to sort of get a player and displease them, because they don't seem to air their laundry in public. They don't go to the papers and all that. It's like when Kyogo left was the first time we heard really he was unhappy, right? So Dyson could be pissed off right now that he's not playing centre forward, that he's not the striker, that he's not tuning up for what he wants to do next season, which makes him, a Champions League type level player and that. So we could go into the first game against a team and might have to go with Dyson as a striker. How many games has he had? You know?
Aye, he's no played there at all for the middle so far. It
Nope.
has just been wide. So yeah, it does seem right now. 1 week we're linked with wingers, the next week it's strikers, and we're linked with them at the same time. So aye, it's a bit of again. I know Connor did a Carmageddon episode for his last night, and he talked about the transfer strategy, and it does feel like what really is the strategy right now. I think a lot of fans are starting to get quite worried is the word, but they're just a bit confused as to what is actually happening. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of rhyme or reason at times. And yes, I'll get on pretty soon to some of the transfer links as well. So another striker linked this tonight. The Balakisha deal still seems to be dragging on. So surprise, surprise, could go to the last week like I predicted. I don't want it to go to the last week, but hey, we could be here. Also, David Lowe coming in with a good description here. Adrian says, for a player that has so many attributes, big, strong, fast, is everything there is to be a quality striker for us. He doesn't have the application or the mentality that is needed. And yeah, again, goes down to that sort of lackadaisical demeanour that he's got, that sort of body language. Odson Edward had it, but the difference was Odson Edward switched it on. Jesus Christ, he switched it on big time. He was more than capable. But yeah, Adam Ida, he's on a sugary peg right now. He's got a lot to prove, especially after saying he wants to score 30 goals this coming season. If we don't get a striker in before the season starts, he's going to have to start through the middle and he's going to have to hit the ground running. But let's talk about a couple other players as well through the week that obviously made some headlines. And Luke McCown's been doing all right in pre-season. That's a couple of goals he's had. So he finished his goal quite nicely on Wednesday night as well, Franny. And I said that at the time when I spoke to Terry when we did a post-match for the Cork game. Where is Luke McCown in terms of, can we see another gear from him this season? Is he just very much just going to be a squad player? Is the player himself going to be happy with that, Franny? Is he going to back himself to be like, you know what? I can push into the Celtic midfield because, Engels, very up and down season last season. Hatate, we don't know what the future holds for him. I'd like to think that we can keep Hatate again for another year, but you just don't know. But I look, McCown's definitely done himself. He's definitely got himself a bit of praise and a bit of press really from his performances, Franny.
Well, that's it. He's done himself no harm. For me, I don't want to sound like a criticism of the boy because I think he's a really good football player and tidy. But sometimes you just need that type of player in your team that he's probably got to give you a 7 out of 10. He'll maybe not win you many games. I think if you look at the big games he played last year, he played a couple of games against Rangers and just didn't really show up for them. It was a shame because he's a Celtic supporter, so you know what it means to him to play in the games, and he would have felt it as hard as us fans, knowing that he hadn't performed. Taylor know he hadn't performed, but if he can push his way into the team, then fair play to the boy. He's obviously performed at a higher level that I think he can get to. I still think I'm not by far chasing him out the door. It's a guy I want to keep around because, like I say, I think he can contribute in the team. But beyond being a first team pick week in, week out for, I didn't think so. I think it could be like a Johnny Hayes type of player that you need round the squad that will do a job for you when he comes in. I think that's where McCown is for me.
I don't say that. I suppose he'll probably, he'll obviously want to feature a bit more, but you're right. The game that stands out last season where he had that chance was obviously the Rangers game at home where McGregor was injured, wasn't he? And yeah, McCown was I think the occasion got to him. He was really erratic. His passing was all over the place. And the one moment of class he had was setting up Rio Hatate for the equalising goal where he was just composed enough to just perfectly weighted pass. Hatate didn't have to break his stride or nothing, finished it well. And at that point, of course, we were definitely on the ascendancy in that game. And I thought, okay, now we've got control of this game. But of course, we all know how that one ended. We know we got sucker punched at the end. But yeah, I think that game gave us a wee indication. And again, probably just because he's such a big fan, maybe he just got overwhelmed by having to play against them. But another midfielder, of course, through the week that was getting headlines, Liam, was obviously Nygren, who did play in the middle. Something we've speculated about, saying, is he a winger? Is he going to play through the middle? Is he this number 10 attacking midfielder? And his performance through the week seems to have been a glowing one as well, and against decent opposition compared to like the Cork City game where you can kind of go, well, it's Cork City, bottom of the Irish League, but Sporting Lisbon is no bad at all. But Nygren definitely got a lot of praise through the week, and early signs encouraging with him, Liam.
I mean, looks good. Yeah, I thought that was the best of midfield looked for a while with him and the passing. Not the the first choice to pass it back every time. I like the fact that the ball was moving, it was going forward. I didn't see a lot of the game. I had a really poor feed.
The game appeared on YouTube as well, and it was streaming through a Portuguese.
That's where I clocked in.
We
must have all had the same feed then, Liam. We must have all had the same feed.
Oh mate, I'm sure. Yeah, that's probably the biggest concern at Celtic Park right now. So everybody's on it, But I thought he's starting to look good. Still too early to tell. I thought Odin Home was a player when I first saw him coming in at this sort of stage in the pre-season, and that sort of stuff. So I'm just trying to say, okay, let's see what we get here, The Swedish boy, Nygren, he looks like he's just hitting the ground running as well, in this team. So that's the one I'm most excited about. But yeah, it's just, I know it's hard to watch Celtic right now, knowing it's so much work they have to do. I'm excited that you're seeing some younger players coming in and all that, but I'm not excited if that's offered as the solution of how we're moving forward. You want to see them do well, really well, but you can't help but look at some of the deficiencies as well. And a lot of that is just an inexperience. I mean, experience is an awful lot. We keep losing games played and all that. So we could be going into a Champions League where, the only person that's coming with Champions League experience is Tierney. And you never know, he might sit out that game. So you've got all these young players that are coming in again or from smaller leagues that don't have any Champions League experience whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm liking where the midfield's looking right now. It's looking lively. I think tomorrow will be a big test. It's interesting
there was no Arnie Engels in that midfield as well in the start of the game, so I wonder. But again, I want to hope that Engels will push on this season. We will see the best of him. Bit of a ropey first season, couple of flashes here and there of good moments, but we want to see it consistently. But if it's a case of if the boy can't find for him, Brendan just needs to be ruthless, regardless of the price tag we paid. If he isn't cutting it, you've got to do his best for the team.
Yeah, it's like playing the over the odds for an expensive album. You bring it home, you play it a few times. Oh, it's not as good as you thought it is, but much money you try and convince yourself by keep playing that. At some point you just got to take the needle off the record and put it in the bin.
But you mentioned there tomorrow, obviously we're playing Newcastle United, Premier League opposition at Celtic Park. Quite ironically, this is Eddie Howe finally stepping through the doors at Celtic Park after 4 years ago. God, it seems longer than 4 years ago, but yeah, 4 years ago he was meant to be the Celtic manager, and obviously the timeline is very, very different. Ange Postecoglou became the manager. Who knows what would have happened? I still think we would have went on and won stuff under Eddie Howe, but I can remember saying at the time, this came up as a talking point on the Bhoys Bus pod. We were discussing this, and I said, you know what? We still would have won stuff with Eddie Howe, but he would have always had his eye on his next move down to England, because I thought, Ange Postecoglou, he'll be here for ages. What happened after 2 seasons? Yeah, exactly. So, well, what do I know? But yeah, he'll obviously be in the bench at Celtic Park. He'll be behind his Newcastle team, 5th in the Premier League last season, got a Champions League spot because UEFA have decided that England deserve another Champions League spot. Well done, UEFA. And they did win the first trophy as well. They won the Carabao Cup, the League Cup in England, first trophy in 70-something years. I loved how the marketing for this was the Battle of the League Cup Champions, I believe it was put out as the original tweet. And it's like, I don't think Celtic are really going to use the Premier Sports Cup as like we won the Premier Sports Cup this season, guys. That's an accolade to us. But it is for a trophy tomorrow. We are chasing part 2 of an illustrious pre-season treble, the Adidas Trophy, Adidas Cup, whatever it wants to be called. We're chasing that tomorrow. But obviously, Friday, there's been a lot of headlines about this game since it was announced, because season ticket holders like myself thought, okay, we've not had a friendly at home in a good while that we've had on the season ticket. We seem to always play most of our games away from home in pre-season. Newcastle United coming to town, okay, that'll be a good wee gift on the season ticket, a wee sort of thank you for renewing. No, 25 quid extra, please. And I haven't bought my ticket. I'm just going to give it a miss anyway, just because, yeah, it is quite a lot to stump up for a friendly, essentially. But a lot of fans have made their voices heard about it. But before we came on, you said you've heard reports that it's actually close to being a sellout, which I hope it is. I really do, because as opposed to about 10,000 Geordies coming up for it, which the idea of English Premier League fans coming up and laughing at our empty stadium if there was not many fans there, I'm like, oh, don't give them an excuse to laugh at us, please. But you've heard stories that apparently it's sold out, and I say I hope that is the case. But where do you stand on the whole ticket debate and whatnot? And do you think fans who are making a stand are quite right to do so?
100%. I mean, I've not had my season ticket for a good few years now, Phil, but when I had it, you at least got a friendly. The sort of the cup side, it had been pretty much scrapped and stuff, but you at least got one home friendly. So the folk like yourself, whether you're taking a stance or not, Phil, be not taking up your ticket, but the folk that are totally back them, because it is just kind of take for the fans. I appreciate it's almost the way of the world, but it feels like the club are failing to read the room on situations like this. I mean, what friendlies are all about. I appreciate a lot of families might get to go now, but it seems like the ticket prices have held their ground and kept the ticket prices up at the £25-30 mark. But friendlies were always about just seen the new signings and stuff. You go and guys like yourself and that who've got season tickets, you're back after the summer, you get that wee chat with folk round about you, just how was your summer, blah blah blah, just wee things like that, and just enjoying the day because it's generally nice weather and things. But it's just, and I think a lot of the frustration is built on signings not coming in quick enough and stuff. I mean, I'm fairly patient now with the signs, whether that's just as a term that Bhoys like to use and conditioned, I don't know. I think close at the Champions League, I'll qualify, I'll see where my mood's at them, depending on. But as for the more, on one hand, I do hope it's a sellout for the reason, or close to a decent crowd anyway, for the reasons you said, Phil. It's just not a great look and things like that. But equally, it then, on the flip side of that, the board then look like they've made the right decision, because guys like you next season will again have the argument to go, well, look what happened last season.
Yeah, you actually got to damage their ego in some way, and if it was quite empty, and I say there's 10,000 Newcastle fans there making a hell of a lot more noise in that case. I mean, that's more than even Rangers have had when it was the full allocation. 10,000 is more than that, so I mean, that's an obscene number. They've had to give them even more for this, so we'll see what it brings. But Liam, I believe the last time we played an English Premier League at a team at Celtic Park in a friendly, we got beat 6-2 by West Ham just after COVID was starting to die down. Remember that? Remember Barkas standing at his... Well, I was going to standing at his goal. He was kind of away to... Remember when Kasper Schmeichel conceded an own goal last season against Bruges? He was kind of standing where Kasper Schmeichel was when Mikel Antonio ran through and just slotted into the empty net. Absolutely no awareness still. But yeah, hopefully we don't take a trouser tomorrow, but it just depends on what Eddie Howe puts out. You know, if Alexander Isak plays, I mean, he is hot property right now. Obviously, they're talking 100+ million, whatever Liverpool are circling around him. He is a quality player. They've guys like Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali. Will we see all these players playing for them? Who knows? But they are a more than capable team. They're going to give us a good test more than anything, and that is ultimately what pre-season is about, just getting a good test. But at the same time, I really don't want to see us lose like 6-2 like we did 4 years ago to West Ham. You know, at the end of the day, we still have to have a wee bit of respect about it and try and stay in the game. So how do you feel it's going to go tomorrow, Liam? What's your feeling how Celtic are going to treat it and how Newcastle are going to treat it?
Give me a sec just to rewind a bit here. Just a couple of things. First, for somebody that comes back to Scotland to visit family and stuff like that, it's not just going, like, so you get access to a ticket. It's a lot easier when you go back because your family are gaining to your seats up and stuff like that, right? So you appreciate there's a lot of kindness involved in it right now. Whereas a game like this is a good chance where you could have bought your tickets over here and built your holiday around coming back like that, because it's not just you. You want to go see Celtic with all your friends and family and stuff that you always went and watched the game with. So I think it's going to be more of like a touristy family fun day. And I know that the tickets are expensive and all that, and you look at it and talk, but it's probably not the people that do the season's books, you know. And I'm not saying that's right in any way, right? I'd like to see it be more affordable, but I think that's part of it. Second point, I think when they come out and they announce all the players and the staff, I think we should boo the backroom staff for Newcastle, because they're the ones that buggered up their team. Right? They were the cause of this. It was the A guy that wanted to go to Glasgow. Ooh, you should boo them relentlessly tomorrow. Every time they come on the park, everything. Right? Okay. And then, first thing, this is the Adidas Cup tomorrow, right?
Oh, it's prestigious.
So this is marketing, right? Just like NFL's marketing. This is the big show. You know, this is Adidas. We've seen that with the new TV ads. We've seen that with the strips. We've seen it with the launches and all that. And now we've got an Adidas Cup, right? Where every year they're going to have tournaments. This will be the, you know, if the World Club things doesn't work out, you'll see stuff like that, Adidas Cups and all that form. And everybody's trying to get TV revenue, right? And so I think tomorrow's just, you're going to see they're going to get you in that stadium and they're going to try and even get more money out of you. I think they'll probably have stuff set up everywhere so that you can figure out how to get as much bang for your buck and get as much three-stripey stuff as you can. And, you know, yeah, if I was over there with my son when he was wee and my wife and all that, I'd be like, I'd done it all before. Bought the tracksuits, the jerseys, the everything, you know, everything. And there's a lot of people going to be doing that tomorrow as well. So, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. That's what it's really about. It's a runabout for the two teams. Is there prestige in the cup? No, it's all about the three stripes.
Aye, pretty much. It's the Adidas trophy. But on that subject, let's quickly segue, because there's something Adidas related that I think we need to pick your brain on, Liam, because me and Johnny talked about it on Tuesday night. You've obviously got a background in a bit of marketing and whatnot and branding, so you're quite good at this. What did you think of the snazzy Adidas ad? I remember a year ago, and interestingly enough, perfect link here, talk about Newcastle. I mentioned about this time last year that Newcastle United had been given a fantastic advert for their away kit launch. And I was like, why can't we get that? They had this one where the away fans, well, the fans were going to an away game on a train. They had David Ginola, Steve Howe, Rob Lee, Shea Given, all these legendary players. A good wee sort of fun advert. And I was like, they've surely got enough about us to get such a thing. But hey, now we're one of Adidas's elite clubs, apparently. We did get one. John Collins, Henrik Larsson, Charlie Mulgrew made an appearance. A few of the modern day players, McGregor, Johnson, were all in it. And of course, Bobby Gillespie for Primal Scream. So what was your take on did they do a good job with the marketing and branding, Liam?
Aye, they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. As I said before, so I've directed TV commercials for about 25 years, right? And I've done stuff like that. I've done like Toronto Blue Jays, and I've done sports teams and NASCAR and stuff, right? And so there's always that opportunity to do a really good TV ad that engages the fans and shows them themselves back in a way that they want to see themselves. No, like some of this like pampered setup stuff that the club used to do. I think the club right now, like one of the things they might be getting it right is in the creative direction of the club. What's coming for the outside, the Not the View cover, the Celtic View cover, the Oasis one. I thought that was on point. It looked absolutely brilliant. And that's the sort of crossover stuff you want to see as a fan. And then I thought they nailed it with the Lisbon thing, with the walking out at the stadium, the picture, the group team picture. I mean, I sent that to about 4 of my pals right away as soon as I seen that picture. And then the TV ad. And the one thing it connects all three of them is the empathy for supporters and what we remember and what our nostalgia is and all that. And that what's connected us. That ad wasn't new. They made the exact same ad last year with Newcastle players. I've seen one a year before with Arsenal players. So that template, that's been around for about 14 years. I used to work with a company in Montreal that used to do Adidas. So that template of how they sort of like promote culture, and then you do like the 3 overlaps, right? The sport, the culture, and then there's that magic element of nostalgia and stuff that they can remind you of, oh my God, where you were and all that. And then it's getting all the different elements and throwing it all together. And Celtic's got such a brilliant selection of like fans and supporters and that. You could do 23 of the spots within a year and not run out of people and celebrities and people that have attachments with Celtic to make them interesting. I think so. I looked up the director as well. His name is Jonathan Turton, and I've seen his stuff. He's done UFC stuff and all that, and I think he did the Newcastle one. it was a great job. I mean, I loved seeing the tenements in the front and stuff. It's like, you love it when an ad gets it because it gets all the wee details. That looked like Castlemilk to me. That was Arden Craig Road, you know. And so even when you see that globally, that's a connection as well. That's a deeper connection to the club than what you can put on a jersey or a, you know, broadcast and stuff, right? That's it. That's your family and your memories. And I see myself coming down that close. And yeah, and I think what was also nice is a good tactic that's involved in advertising. This is what I'm giving all the credit to the creative people within Celtic. So hats off. I think you're doing a blinder. Keep it up. All the wee Easter eggs. There's a big thing in advertising called surprise and delight, right? Mm-hmm. They want to get value for money and they want to throw it out at someone. They're giving you a message and all that. They want to surprise you and then have a surprise beyond that surprise. It's like the comedians with the false clothes and then you hit. Some of the wee hits in there I thought were brilliant. There were some really cool things like the John Collins Predator boots.
Yeah.
You know, filming it in my cools. And I guess that is a thing. I saw they had a green KLF cover up on.
It's a good Celtic boozer on the high street, the cools.
Green KLF. I'm like, oh yes, I'm so definitely. Right. So, and then Bobby Gillespie. I mean, that song's been one of my favourite songs since the first time you heard it. It's like going to church in Glasgow. You know, it's got that like where you get the American spiritual stuff and all that. That sounds like Glasgow spiritual stuff, right? So all that stuff. And if you want to read a great book, Tenement Kid's amazing. His life story, brilliant Celtic supporter, great guy. Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed that. And I thought that was good because they were able to link things that we could all relate to. And so that's a template now. So there's nothing stopping that doing forward, connecting with the fans. So creative people, bang on, they'll do it. We could have done one wee thing though. One wee thing I would have changed. Sorry,
okay.
I'll move on for this, right?
This is good. This is great. I mean, the insight that we're getting for you right now is phenomenal.
So one of the things that came up first was that people looked at it and said, aye, but you know what? See that strip that Henrik's in? That's he broke his leg. Oh, aye. And that's the first thing I remember. Within about 20 minutes of the ad, I'd seen somebody had picked up on that. That's the one where he broke his leg. I was saying, aye, okay. You know, and so how do you get over that? That's the one negative thing about it, right? It's not negative. But anyway, if you want to make that into a positive, what you would look for a wee thing was like have him, you know, he's a snooker and all that, but have him playing football at one point. And one of the wee legs breaks off one of the players and everybody just stops in a hush. And it just goes to Henrik and says, maybe he'll come back better. You know? And then, you know, anyway, that's for the next one.
There you go. That's amazing.
I loved it. Great direction for the club. You know, whoever's creative director, keep doing it. I'll buy you a pint when I'm in Glasgow. If you're in Vancouver, look me up.
Ryan T echoing exactly what I say most of the time when I do shows with Liam. Every time I speak to this guy before the show after, I always learn something new and interesting about him. But yeah, there you go. That's what I thought. Liam, you've got a background in marketing and advertising, and that was amazing. Just that wee leg break thing. Maybe you'll come back better. There you go. There's your hook right there, Adidas. You can have that one for free. You can do that one next year. You can have that one. But no,
it could have been Subuto, you know. Or Subuto, you know. Anyway.
Oh, that was fantastic, Liam. No, thanks very much for that one. So we'll bring the mood down now, Franny, after that great positive there for Wheeler. We better transfer news. I was going to say, do you want me to start with bad news? But there isn't any good news, so I'm going to just start with bad news. But I saw a story before we came on. It's only done the rounds in the last couple of hours. Dyson Maeda apparently is on Brentford's radar because Mbeumo has signed for Man United, I believe, and Johan Visser is now getting linked with a move to Tottenham Hotspur to link up with Thomas Frank now. So they're in the market, it seems, for a pacey winger. And I know they were one of the names that were linked to Nicholas Kuhn for a wee while. So maybe they decided to stick around in the Celtic sphere because they're like, we couldn't get Nicholas Kuhn, but hey, look at this guy. But just in general, not necessarily Brentford being one, but are you worried about Dyson Maeda disappearing this summer? Because again, Liam said earlier on, Franny, about his World Cup ambitions. He does keep making noise about the World Cup next year. He does still get picked for Celtic. He also played for Japan, even while playing for Celtic, compared to Hitati and Kyogo. Never seemed to really get much of a look in. So he is still very much in the plans. But are you worried in any way that Dyson's thinking about his next move after the great season he's just had?
Well, I know Liam was saying earlier about, obviously, he plays up front for Japan, and you do read things online that apparently that's one of his conditions, that if he's going to stay or sign a new deal, is if he can play up front. And maybe, I mean, I don't want to ignore what the guy's done for about 3 years for us playing out left. I mean, the guy that brought him here, that knew him better than all of us, Postecoglou, played him out left for the majority. So it's not like he can't play out there. But so the rumours I'm saying he wants to play up front, I don't really know how true they are. But like Liam said as well, he plays there for Japan. There's no debating that's where he plays for Japan. So maybe he is looking at going, my best chance of getting that World Cup squad is playing up front. I'm not worried about him leaving, but I just think he's the one that's. I know what our whole model is, and we probably do sell it to players saying, look, we will move you on when the right offer will not hold you back in that. And for argument's sake, if Brentford do come in with decent cash for him and we knock it back, we're kind of going against our model, if you like. But for me, Maeda's non-negotiable. I don't think you can sell him. But only maybe with the Brentford thing, they kind of do a sort of a similar thing to Celtic with the sign younger, but because what is Maeda, 27, 28? I mean, he's
in
far
his mid-to-late 20s now, aye.
He's far from old, in fairness, but they kind of like to do the sort of a early 20s type thing and sell them on. So maybe I'm finding loose reasons why I think the deal wouldn't happen, but you just never know, because I always thought that Postecoglou would take him to Spurs. I always thought Postecoglou would take him to Spurs, because I think Maeda's made for the Premiership. He's athletic. He's technically got better. We all know he's got the engine to cope. He'll just keep running. I mean, there was actually a video when he got subbed doing press-ups the other day, which is just mental.
I know.
Absolute mental for the guy. So I would hope these rumours come to nothing, Phil. Because as I say, I don't think you can sell Maeda. I know I said I was patient with Celtic, they're now bringing players in, but obviously some fans are up to date, rightly. They'll see it rightly impatient. Can you imagine if we sell Maeda the now to Jesus? It's not even worth it. I think it's worth it for them. I think surely they can't be that silly.
Famous last words. You just
famous last words. I know.
Yeah,
famous last words. Jesus.
Also, a question specifically for you, Franny. Fronnie Pickering, who exactly is asking, where can I get that Venezia jersey? Where can you get it?
Probably similar like your Fire Sticks. There's probably the type of sites that go about, because it was the one top that I wanted to get that was legit, because I really liked them, because it was the year they brought the gold one and the black one out at the same time. And to be fair, I went for the black one, but I just couldn't get it for love nor money, even off the Venezia site. So I went on the actual Venezia site, and as I was telling Phil, it actually cost €25 to get it delivered. So it was, I think just it cost around about 100. I think it was €105 all in. 25 of that was for delivery. But because this is 3-year-old now, I think, so it's possibly a wee bit cheap. It's probably about the same price as delivery right now.
Probably, aye. They're a wee hipster fashion brand these days, Venezia. They're not just a football team. They're very much in that sort of bloke core, I believe they call it. They're that type of fashion movement right now, football shirts and whatnot. In fact, thanks to teams like Venezia. But yeah, leading back to Daisen Maeda, obviously Franny, it could be famous last words saying that, they wouldn't be that stupid, would they? What we saw last year as well, remember this time last year, Kyogo, our best striker, easily at the club, changes his agent and whatnot because he's got eyes on getting into the Japan squad, because there's a World Cup coming up still. And he was linked to Man City and obviously didn't come anything, but then it was a case of he obviously got promised the minute we qualify for the next phase of the Champions League he's gone. And if we get into a similar position this season, if we qualify for the Champions League and we're in that spot going into the January games where the window's still open, and we are maybe one win away from getting through to the knockout stages again like last season, and we might find ourselves in a similar situation where Daisen Maeda is getting itchy feet. He's worried about his World Cup place. And the club, you wouldn't put it past them after what they did last week, because it was literally full-time young boys at Bern. Nobody really had any clues this was happening. The very next morning, Hugo's on a flight to France. And again, it's like the idea of doing that all over again this coming season, where you sell your best striker, it's like, again, you wouldn't put it past them, because there's a precedent been set. But we could find ourselves in a situation like that again, where, okay, we'll keep him for the summer, but in January, with the World Cup getting that bit closer, they might make Maeda some promises. So hopefully, Liam, we don't find ourselves in such a mad situation, but you just can't rule it out with this. The board at times, you just can't.
Some of the optics of this is insane. You know, you got 3 goals disallowed that night before. Could you imagine
That's right.
on a hat-trick in a Champions League game and then get sold the next day? It's like that place would have went crazy.
I'm never actually for it in that way.
I'm sure that was Lowell. It was like talking to chop them off, right? There'll be eruptions. I think same thing with Dyson as well. I mean, all right, you look at the football people are playing. I watched that World Club Cup final, Chelsea, and I know it's Chelsea, but my God, I love to watch the way the attacking football that they played in that game was nice to watch. Yeah. It was a great game to watch as a neutral, and just like, wow, it's exciting attacking football. And I couldn't help but thinking, my God, look at that high press. Look at they're getting no time on it, and they're like, they thrive in the chaos, right? And I'm like, who would fit in perfectly there? Dyson Maeda. So if a mug like me is seeing that, you know, I'm sure all the scouts in the world that have been watching that game just go up, and all you have to look is at every run he's had in the Champions League, in the Scottish League, it's all been tracked. The data is there that you can see that the amount of ground that he covers, the amount of tackles, even his aggression as well, amount of yellow cards, things like that. He's no run about into open spaces. He's getting involved in that. And then also his goal scoring. So, yeah, he's going to be attractive to everybody. How, you know, I'm honestly, see Celtic, I heard a rumour today, and you guys tell me if you think it's true or not, that it's like, that's us done. Like, we're waiting for the Champions League. We're waiting to see if we qualify before we go on. And, you know, if we don't, then they're going to sell Dyson. I mean, they're just absolutely, they're probably gutted the fact that they can't sell Tierney, you know?
I really hope that's not true at all, man. I just can't understand the logic in it if that's what they're doing. But again,
I mean, it's really, really frustrating to see that as well. And, you know, and like, if that happens and then they sell something like Dyson, Jesus Christ, sometimes as a fan, you just wonder, maybe I should take this year off. I mean, it happened a bit in the 90s for me, but there was other things involved.
Yeah, what am I going to do on a Friday night if you take the year off, mate? I need the wise man here to keep it all on track. Come on, man.
It's like, come on, give the fans something. Like you invest so much in it as a fan as well. I know it's just all emotional stuff, but as that commercial TV shows you, their brand connects on emotion, all right? And that's the one thing that they don't have and they don't understand. And the amount of emotional damage that you're doing to Celtic fans when you keep consistently selling the best players and the people that hit form and all that, I don't know. It's just, that's not what our club was built on. It's no why I wear Celtic jerseys and buy my wings, you know, and, you know, that's no, it wasn't about being frugal through and through, or, you know, cheap or whatever, value for money, and that's somebody else's idea of what we're supposed to be. I want to see players you connect with, players that play Celtic way, players that, you know, your fans, you know, your kids, it's your kid's favourite player, like having enough of an identity so that your kids, my kid had goldfish named Lubo, Bobo, Stillian, Henrik, and his teacher was like, why do your fish have all these odd names? It's because it was the Celtic team that when he was a wee boy grew up with, you know.
There's no guy out there as well that's got a middle name that's like the whole team that got to Seville or something like that. I'm pretty sure that was a thing. I remember that being a story in 2003. Also, RM has said in the chat, he says, why is Franny on here while Endless Celts are on at the same time? Don't tell me you've chucked Endless Celts, mate. No, he's not. He's just on loan to us tonight. He's decided to jump on, and we appreciate him showing up here tonight.
Short the wing.
We have right? No, we've not signed him. We've not poached him. We've not tapped him up in any way. There's nothing malicious going on here. No, just jump on with us tonight and just help us out. And I say I'll happily return the favour at some point, and or somebody from this team can jump on Endless Celts as well. Because as I said at the top of the show, we're all one big happy Celtic family. We're all pulling in the same direction here and trying to do the same thing. So yes, Ferrani's just on here tonight, just on loan essentially. So back onto those transfers. Let's talk about this Romanian boy. I'm going to try and pronounce this right without butchering it first time. So Luis Munteanu. Munteanu, Romanian striker, plays for CFR Cluj, or Cluj, however it's pronounced. That's another one that always trips me up as well. So apparently we've had a bid rejected for Annie of 6.9 million euros. I said that's quite hilarious because that's what Visgarden would have cost apparently, but they are looking for closer to what would work out at 15 million because he was a Fiorentina youngster and Fiorentina are owed part of a transfer fee, obviously a sell-on clause, so I think they're just trying to maximise their money. But a little extra part of the story tonight as well, just to further give us more doom and gloom about it, is their chairman's came out and said they have a concrete bid in from a team in Ligue 1 in France. So is that us out the running already? Is this one over before it's even started? But his profile fits the type of player we should probably be looking at. He's playing at a league that's maybe a slightly similar, maybe a wee bit below Scottish football. He's scored a ton of goals and he's only been there for a season as well. He obviously came through Fiorentina. He's been on their books. He's came through a good academy in terms of Italian football and whatnot. I think it was like 20-something goals he got this season. He's 23 years old as well, so he's in a good age range and all. But as I say, now we're hearing talk from their chairman. It could just be that chairman saying that just to push Celtic maybe to up their bid or whatever. But if there is a bid from a French league team, then as I say, it could be over Franny before it's even started, that one, mate. But I hope not.
I hope not, because it's just, I think we're all a wee bit desperate, just want a striker in that we don't really know if they're going to be. I mean, Yamada, for all loving their money, could be a fantastic signing because we didn't know much about Maeda, didn't know much about Hatate, but gave them the benefit of the doubt based on Kyogo. But that just seems to have all went now. It's like it's a game we didn't really trust the board. I mean, I appreciate Ange was there, so it was Ange getting a lot of the trust there. But Yamada might be a really good player. Time will tell with that. But this Romanian boy, it just came right out the blue. I think it was late last night. I think I was just about to go to bed and I just do my usual, just go a wee quick dive into Twitter and see what's happening before I go away. And it was just, we've had a bid rejected for some Romanian boy. So I started reading up about it. I was like, and then because it's saying it was a bid and it was rejected straight away, and apparently they're wanting 15 million, you're like, well, is it maybe just agent talk? The club just try to sell the player? I don't know. But then you start seeing stories creep up the day that apparently that owner is in some mad court case or debt that is due some German that gave him 40 million or something.
What is it with chairman in Romanian football? The Stoya Bucharest one for many years was an absolute lunatic as well. And
so apparently he's in like 22 million. Apparently he's in 22 million pound. Apparently he's in 22 million pound of debt or something.
So that's what you need somebody for. It's not for Fiorentina. It's for him. Okay.
And then it's so as well when you read up on it, Fiorentina have got a sale on and it's 50%. So that'll probably be why he's asking. So if we got him for like the 7 million, it's 3.5 million they're getting for him. Fiorentina get another 3.5. So no one of these wanting about 15 million for the guy because they've only got to get 7 8. So it just seems a really, really awkward deal to get done. But if he's, like I say, it's going by the stories, he's in court due 22 million to some guy that is, I think it's sort of a guaranteed against, like a lot, the guarantors, the club essentially. So he really needs to sell by the sounds of things. So I think he might just be trying to drive the price up. That's what I'm hoping for. Whether we're legitimately in for him or not, I don't know. But looking at his profile, I hope so in the sense that it looks more what you class as a Brendan Rodgers striker based on the price tag essentially. But it just seems a mad deal.
I've never known a 50% sell-on clause. That is a trap door if ever I've seen one. That is one probably we might want to steer clear from because they are going to look for
again. That's just information I've found on Twitter. How legit that is, I'm no, like we say, we're no ITK or anything like that. It's just probably third-hand information, Chinese whispers and all that.
Jesus, that's astounding. But yeah, Liam, I say this done for the striker does go on, and I say the boy does have a profile that probably does fit. But it is getting to the point where we see Brendan Rodgers hasn't exactly filled us with confidence. And I know you love a good Brendan Rodgers quote, Liam, and obviously he said his stuff about Yamada coming in. He wasn't that convinced. He's called it a club signing again, which of course begs the question: who's sanctioning these signings? But do you want a plus point, Liam? Do you want to hear a plus point on Yamada? Apparently, he is faster than Daisen Maeda. Think of that for a second. He has been clocked as the fastest sprinter in the Japanese J-League, and we've already got Daisen Maeda. So if he is quicker than him, and he's playing through the middle, Jesus Christ, and you've got Maeda out wide, and you've got they two. I think Brendan might be a bit, to write him off and be a bit arsey about it, let's be honest. I don't know, man. I mean, I think the fact that he's got that pace to get in behind, if he's quicker than Maeda, Jesus Christ, that's actually terrifying, Liam.
It's terrifying. I mean, more terrifying if they both turn out to be like Japanese Ollie Burke or something like that, where he's just, sorry.
Actually, Ollie Burke was fast, actually, when I think about it. He was.
So I'm all for players racing all over the park, but stay on side. Okay, this is
of course.
Where we've got the sugary lines. Right, so he's going to have to look at that part of his run, how he can run zigzaggy to meet some of those lines that get drawn in. But you're right. And Franny said it earlier about the confidence we had in Ange when Ange was bringing in these players and that from Japan. I think that was the thing, that we knew that there was some sort of scouting behind it, or even understanding of the players' temperaments and stuff like that. It's funny, like the ones that Ange brought in, and I think Iguchi would have done really well too if he hadn't got, battered, against that game. Barry's
Alloa, right? Alloa Athletic, wasn't it? Aye.
When we got brogued. But they all look like Ange signings, and then the next ones that came in, I mean, they all look potential as well, but I don't know what his plan was with them, but you could see it, I thought I can't even remember all their names. Iwata. I think when he came in, I always thought he looked good. And then when he was gone, I was like, all right, you missed that guy. He could have filled in for Aaron Moy, when he went missing. Let's see where it goes.
I say right now, it all just about a lottery. But I say the manager isn't. I just don't really agree with this strategy with Brendan, where he's just kind of tarnishing the player before he's even kicked a ball yet. If the manager isn't filling you with confidence, that's not a good thing. I mean, I love Brendan Rodgers. I've been very consistent from day one. The first time I appeared on the Bhoys bus at a time when Brendan Rodgers was very much in the back of people's minds. Every time his name would come up doing episodes of Nostalgia, I would always talk about how much I fucking loved Brendan Rodgers as manager, loved his time as manager. There'd be some people in the chat who'd always be like, no, he's a rat and all that. And fair enough, that's their gift to think so. When he came back, I was elated. But these wee arsey comments, it does remind you of the Marine Shred stuff. It does remind you of that. And it's like, we know what happened not long after that one. But see, he's already said it in Amura. And then he's kind of backtracked on it a couple of days later when he's played him in a game and went, oh, actually, might have a closer look at him. Obviously, we Yamada coming in, he's a club signing, does start to ring alarm bells. Who exactly sanctioning these? And given it again, we'll take a look at them over pre-season rather than bigging them up, because that's usually what managers do. They're like, oh yeah, I've got my man. This is a guy I always wanted. I totally believe in his game and all that. It's a very, very odd strategy to be doing that at times, and it doesn't fill us with confidence. That's the problem. He's the only person of a high-ranking spot at Celtic that is speaking to the fans right now. We're not hearing from Lawwell. We're not hearing from Nicholson. We're not hearing from anything. We're only hearing from Brendan Rodgers in this case. And if he's the only one and he's giving these messages, you've got to understand that fans are going to get a little bit worried about it, get a little bit apprehensive. So hopefully, though, as I say, hopefully we're positive. Yamada being as quick as he is, apparently, fastest player in the J League, then hey, we could be onto something here with this one. But I hope to God that doesn't mean he's just a replacement for Daisen Maeda, who we just talked about. There's rumours he might be getting looked at by Brentford. Hopefully that's not the case. I like the idea of the two of them in the same team if that's the case, if they're that quick. So hopefully that's what we'll see going into the season. So let's end on a positive story, Franny. We've had a wee bit of up and down there, a wee bit of negativity with transfers. Let's talk about a positive, and it's a very simple one. KT did the press conference today. How excited and how, I mean, I'm just pure giddy every time I see Kieran Tierney in a Celtic shirt just talking. I just can't believe that he's back, and I'm just excited to see him go. I just love the fact that he doesn't put on like, you know, a voice for the press. He'll try and be all articulate. He just talks like a regular boy from Glasgow. You know, he just talks like me. He talks like, you know, regular folk from this city. And he doesn't try and, you know, try and be dead polite for the media. And it's just great hearing him talking about Celtic, how excited he is. You can see it. And he said as well today, and I hope this is the case, he himself has no concerns over his fitness. As I hope so. And he feels he's not got to prove it to anybody. Well, we'll see on that one. I say my fingers are crossed that he can play 50-something games this season. We'll wait and see on that one, Franny. But just in general, how excited are you just to see Kieran Tierney back, man? It's an amazing feeling.
As because it's on his day, we've generally got a world-class left back. It's whether they can recapture that form due to like the injuries he's had and stuff, and if he can stay fit. I mean, for no daft, the only reason Kieran Tierney's back is because a Celtic fan. You're not getting that level of player at 27-year-old. If the stars have kind of aligned in the sense that he was needing to kickstart his career. I say kickstart his career. I think by all accounts he had decent offers to stay in England and probably could have got decent offers elsewhere. But it obviously just that emotional pull to Celtic. I think Brendan Rodgers would have been a big factor in that as well. But I don't think that needs to be down. Like, he can't downplay this type of signing just because the guy's a massive Celtic fan and it was a free transfer at the end of the day. That's almost the fact that it was a free Kieran Tierney was a free transfer and he's came to us is almost even better because some of the teams that could have gave him the signing on fee would have blew us out the park. And we know, like, I say we know, but you've got to assume he's taking a healthy wage cut to come here. So you know it's not money motivated why he's here. He's here for all the right reasons. And so I'm just totally buzzing. Pray to God that it just doesn't break down because obviously that injury he got at the Euros looked absolutely horrible. And he has had his injury things in the past. So fingers crossed that he stays as fit as he possibly can. And like you say, if Phil plays 40, 50 games, be brilliant because he's here for the big games, but unfortunately you can't just pick and choose him. He needs to be playing regular. You can't just turn up and play in big games. So I'm really looking forward to him back. He makes the team, makes the defence so much better. Makes that left-hand side so much better. Not that I'm saying we shouldn't address it now.
We can't mention the previous left back. We can't mention him on here.
No, we'll know. We've been getting on all right tonight, so I better not upset him. You said to end on a positive, so we will. And maybe like another one with the KT signing. What is Rodgers like? Obviously, there is that thing overhanging Rodgers. This is his last year of his contract, essentially. We don't know if he's going to be staying or going. What has Rodgers told Kieran Tierney? That's where I would look at this as well. Is Rodgers hinted that if he gets the summer he wants, he'll maybe stay a wee bit longer? Because I mean, Kieran Tierney's probably came back because big reasons came back is because as a Celtic fan, but you would hope he's had some reassurances for Rodgers that Rodgers has got to hang about. If obviously Rodgers not got to hang about if he doesn't get. He's not going to get all his own way, but get a lot of the things that he wants. But surely he's had some reassurances that Rodgers is hanging about.
Well, remember a year ago there was a picture doing the rounds at, I don't know, what award show it was at or something, and Brendan Rodgers talking to Kieran Tierney. That was a year ago. So it was like, I wonder if the seeds were planted there. Just hang it out.
Edward was at that day, wasn't he?
Edward turned up with the team in the team bus, and I was like, there's no way that Brendan Rodgers has not been allowed to him. Come sit up front with me, Odson. Come sit with me and we'll have a wee chat. You're telling me that Odson Edward, who was the only person that night presenting an award who was still an active football player, everyone else was retired. And it was like, Odson Edward turned up at the Celtic Player of the Year Awards last year, and I'm like, there's a move here. But obviously Brendan has nonsense that through the week because his name came up again. As I said on Tuesday night, 3 summers in a row, Odson Edward's names came up at Celtic, but no smoke without fire if he's appearing at Player of the Year Awards and whatnot. But anyway, that's what I. But Kieran Tierney again, Liam, just a quick thing as well. He also said today in his presser that it was an easy decision for him to leave Arsenal, which, to be fair, I am not surprised at, because look how he got treated. Let's be honest. Mikel Arteta just kind of decided that you're no for me. Even after he was part of a team that did win him his only trophy, and he was fit to play from October last season, even though, that, as Franny said, that injury at the Euros was horrendous. That one, that looked like a season ender, that one, but he was back in October. But yeah, of course, he only began getting games again the minute we were suddenly circling around him in January. But yeah, Kieran Tierney did say it was the easiest decision to come back to Celtic. And 27-28, said it to Johnny on Tuesday night. He's here now until he retires, I reckon. Until he, he hangs it up. I think he is here. He's not thinking about, I'll come back to Celtic for a couple of years and I'll head back down to England again. Nah, Kieran Tierney's dialed in. And yeah, I agree with what Franny says. Yeah, it will be interesting. What did Brendan say to him? Did Brendan say he was going to stay on? I said on Tuesday night, I think he will sign a new deal, be one of those 1 year rolling contracts, and it'll be sometime after the window closes. But again, just my opinion. A lot of people are saying he won't stay. Some are saying he is, as we'll find out in due course. But Tierney, how exciting, Liam, how excited are you about it?
I've always wanted Tierney. I mean, imagine this window right now if we hadn't signed Tierney. Can you imagine the break right now in podcasts and that?
Your favourite player would still be here, Liam.
What's that?
I think your favourite player would still be here if you hadn't signed Kieran Tierney.
Captain. So, I think, yes, it's something you've got to be grateful for players like Tierney. We talk about these people, we talk about Lions, we talk about that, and we're seeing one in real time. And you're seeing a guy that came back and he had his own sort of plan in that today. And yeah, I love that about him. If you look at, so what's the reciprocal stuff on that, right? So he's taken a big cut in wages, he's took a cut in all that. The board hasn't had to go and do lengthy contact things, so they still did base it out, but to get him here and that. So what do they owe Kieran Tierney? What do we owe him? I don't think he came back necessarily to play with Rodgers. He would have came back for anybody. He came back to play for Celtic. Rodgers just happens to be here right now, and of course, you're not going to slag off your manager in the first couple of weeks. No, he's getting to play with Celtic and play in front of his fans and his family and create that sort of connection. What are we offering him? We don't look like we're trying to build a team around him to make it stronger. We've not even got him an adequate backup yet. And so he does feel that he can take times off. We've not strengthened up the team. I'd love to see us get somebody in the midfield as well, because like to play beside him, because I don't want him going into all the hard tackles, because Trusty's a wee bit lightweight, and I think it'll be Trusty that'll end up beside him. So, in corner kicks and all that sort of stuff, a lot of those big boys get missing, and I don't want Tierney taking on all that extra stuff, because, in Scottish football, we've got some hammer throwers that like to throw it about.
Oh, yes. Yes,
we're going to have to be very, very firm with the referees and what their obligation is as far as protecting players on the park, because you've now got somebody that's like a marquee player in Scotland, a proper marquee player, come in. You have to protect those players. You can't have guys running about like that. Absolute idiot that put Hatate out the game against Aberdeen. There was nothing football related about that tackle. He came in, he came swinging and reckless. He was after the whistle. He was wanting to send a message to somebody in the final, and that boy didn't play in the final. So Scottish
could have been huge when you think about it now.
Well, look at some of the stuff that Super Scoreboard, burns up over and things like that. Minimum contact stuff like that. That was a guy that deliberately put a guy out for a cup final. So where's the league and the crackdown and the referees? When you slow that down and you can hear the whistle and you can see how late he is, I don't know. You have to come out and say that's a wee bit premeditated. We're probably looking at a couple of extra games. I remember Ryan Christie got a couple of games because he swung his hand in and happened to catch Morelos in the Hee-Haws, 2-game retroactive. So where's all that sort of stuff? Because I don't think that boy got anything else other than it was the second yellow or the straight red that he got. But I hope Tierney gets protected this way as well. And come on, board, this boy's come back and he's doing us a massive favour. Give him an opportunity to see what this team's like in the Champions League. It's that's the thing. Rodgers, the board, Rodgers, I think, it's just all that be the club signing. It's just like, stop treating it as mugs, mate. You don't have that grace yet. Okay, done it before. Don't start showing the signs that you're nippy sweetie wee with the club and me and all the wee misguided patterns and signals, and then we're going, have a pair of balls, stand up to the board. If you want players, get them. You've got the fan backing before you. But if you're just going to mull about and accept what you're getting, and somehow we're latched on you for another year, honestly, go now. Go now. If you're not getting players because you're leaving and stuff like that, then let's get somebody in that we can do it, It's Celtic. I said, I don't want to take a year off, Neither should you.
I know where you stand right now when it comes to Brendan Rodgers, but we'll wait and see what happens. And he did allude to him and Dermot Desmond have touched base regarding contract talks, but he said he's got more important things to sort right now, which is obviously the team. So it's over to you, Celtic. The clock is still ticking. The Champions League game is approaching. We've got to qualify for the Champions League. We really, really do. I really hope that isn't true about them waiting until they've qualified. But, hey, they've done that in the past. They have had previous for it. But, hey, it's time to change. It's 2025. Come on, Celtic. Step into the future here. But anyway, all that said, done. I'm sure we'll be back next Friday to moan about the same things. Hopefully there's a few signings officially in the door by then, and we will get it done. So, yeah, we've been on for an hour and 11 minutes, so I think we'll wrap it up pretty soon. So, Francis, first of all, thank you for joining us tonight. Have you enjoyed yourself?
It was always good on a Friday night. A wee beer as well, Phil, just to enjoy it. It's Friday night. But no, thanks for asking us on. Always happy to jump on the shows and stuff like that anyway. So,
nice, I need you to do me one big favour, though, on your return to Endless Celts HQ. I need you to go and tell Stephen Tomlinson to stop being an absolute shitebag and play me at FIFA, because 2 years ago, I told him that I had a FIFA league that I run online, and he says, get me signed up to that, get me signed up, I'll win everything on that. And I was like, okay, big boy, put your name down, get involved. And then he cold feet on it, and then he was like, no, I can't just now, I've got a lot of stuff on. I said, when FIFA 25 comes out, I'll be back in your DMs. I did it, and of course he was like, oh no, I can't just now. Well, FIFA 26 is only about 2 months away. I'll be back in your DMs again, Stephen Thompson, so stop being a big shitebag and get involved. Look to me, and you can believe, so go and tell him from me.
I will do. Just call him Bobby. He looks like Bobby, Stevie the bookie.
Stevie the bookie.
Stevie the bookie. Just go in his DMs and just write Stevie,
come on. I said FIFA 26 is coming out soon, so I'm sure I'll be right back in his DMs going, come on, do it. Stop being a shitebag. Liam, have you enjoyed another Friday night? Friday feeling?
It was brilliant. It's nice to have you on, Franny. It's always nice to have done a couple of wee crossovers with Celtic Order and that, and it's nice to see us all just jumping on and off each other's podcasts and that. And then there's always Phil. Hi, always a pleasure sharing a Friday night with you and expressing some feelings.
Getting some therapy, the Friday therapy session. Off our chest. So I remind everybody on the way out, obviously do all the good stuff, hit the like button, subscribe. You've all been commenting all night. Leave comments after the show as well. That also helps interactions, because YouTube will push interactive channels more than anything. Of course, head over to the Endless Celts as well. Subscribe to them, give them a like, show them some love too. And we shall be back on the next one. I think we're going to look at maybe doing a TikToking episode early next week as well. That could be any day, because that is one of the only. This is the only show that's got a day in the name, Friday Feeling. The rest of the shows that I've got set up on this one don't have any particular day attached to them. So, hey, just again, how will you know when said show is on? You hit the subscribe button, you hit the bell notification, and you'll be reminded when the bus is on the road. So, folks, we are out of here. If you're going to the game tomorrow, enjoy it. I heard it's going to be pissing rain as well, so bring an umbrella with you as well. Middle of July, just love to see it, Glasgow weather, fantastic. We shall head off. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your night, whatever you get up to. Liam, enjoy the rest of your day over in Canada. And thanks for watching, folks, and we shall see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.